how you doing, everybody? Here we are, episode 4. And let me tell you, this is going to be a real good one. Real good one. I'm going to throw in my buddy here. You know this guy, Mark Steele, the man of steel, I should call him. The man of steel. There he is. All right.
What's going on, Jimmy? How are you?
What's happening, brother? What's happening?
Not a lot, man. It seems like so much is going on, but not a lot at the same time, man. Our world is changing every single day, huh?
Oh, man, I know. And I know we were talking about this earlier. And I know you wanted me to cover it, and it's very important. CDC came out with some new instruction nationwide as far as the symptoms of the corona and, of the virus causes COVID-19. And it's similar to a lot of things we know. They added taste of smell, that you lose lost taste of smell. They add, it's a lot of foodborne illness, to tell you the truth. Same things, a headache, you name it, it's there. And I just want everyone to understand that when the CDC puts this information out, it's not really for us to disregard it. It's for us to understand it and move forward with it and comply. I know that all around the nation, we're starting to see spikes and in everywhere, and some people comply, some people don't. But I just send the message out to everyone: comply with your local jurisdictions. Definitely comply with your mandates. It'll turn around. We're doing more testing too. Mark.
Yeah, I even saw maybe even this morning that New York is quarantining people of like anywhere from 15 to 20 different states, including Nevada. So if you're coming in from Nevada to New York, that they're quarantining you for 14 days.
Right. And we're still considered one of the lowest, but we're getting spikes too, because now we're mandatory mask, so it's pretty much nationwide. Yeah, but with that said, all right, and before I introduce our wonderful guest who's standing by, there's one thing I want to tell you. Yesterday, last week, you had some memorabilia from the old Bellagio days, right?
I did, yes.
Wait till you see this one, okay? Look what I brought out. Sonia gave me this to show. Remember this? Let me see if I can you can see this? This was the Bellagio Walkman that we got as a gift.
Wow.
It's still intact. About a year ago, I went online and I was looking for old Bellagio memorabilia. This thing went for $1,000. Somebody wanted to pay $1,000 for this thing.
Wow.
And I said, I'm going to hold on to it. You never know. I may have a gold mine here.
I think I missed that day. It must have been my day off because I didn't get
I got that one. You got the book, right? The leather book?
Yeah, I know I got it somewhere. But maybe we need to hunt that down somewhere too.
Absolutely. All right, let me bring in our guest. This guy is outrageous. He's fantastic. He's from Good Pie, good old Brooklyn guy like me, and he's old Bellagio school too. It just happens everybody lately has been Bellagio school, but he's a good guy. I want to bring on, there he is, Vinny. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys? How are you, Jimmy?
Doing great.
What's up, Mark?
Look at you in the kitchen, man. Hard at work.
I know, dude. I'm here working. So I actually just completed inventory for June.
Okay.
So that's what's going on. I got my inventory sheets, my counts. So yeah, I'm here working.
Hard at work. Good job.
Excellent, man. Excellent. Yeah. So share with everybody. Give me some story about you, man. Like some the Bellagio days. Do whatever you want to say, man. We want to hear about you. Everybody knows about us.
Monologue. The Vincent Rotolo intro.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Vincent Rotolo. I first met Jimmy Vigilante. I think at Bellagio for sure. I moved here from New York City in 2011. I remember the date was December 1st, 2011, and I got a job at Bellagio pretty soon after, and started there like February 2012. And, always had the goal of just opening a pizzeria. Wanted to, just have a pizza restaurant in Las Vegas, and worked my way through a bunch of different jobs here for about 5 or 6 years. And finally had the opportunity to open Good Pie on National Pizza Day. So we opened February 8th, 2018. February 9th, rather, 2018 was National Pizza Day. And, here we are, a couple years later, and we're about to finish up our first major build out at 1212 South Main Street in the Arts District and unlaunch the Good Pie Pizza Bar brand. I'm so excited to announce that.
And
That's the story.
No, it's great, man. But I know, I was looking at the pizza. You got that gluten-free thing going on.
Gluten-free.
Yeah, let me know about your menu. I want to hear about the menu because I'm a pizza guy. I love it.
What we do is we try to honor the old world pizza making traditions and pizza history in general. And so for me, that starts with the grandma pizza. We're known as the home of the grandma, and we highlight the grandma pizza style because of the nostalgia and the story of the development of the pizza. And that's really what I think sets us apart from some other pizzerias. What we do is we tell the story of the evolution of every style we sell. So whether it's grandma style that we lead with, or Brooklyn style pizza that I grew up on, or Detroit style pizza, which was created by Sicilian immigrants in Detroit, the pizza stories we tell always go back to the first generation Italian American immigrants and their struggle to survive in the new world. And much like we're going through the struggle to find our identity and hospitality in the world of coronavirus today, those immigrants back in, the times they were coming, the 20s and 30s and 40s and so on, and even before then, they faced tremendous, hardships and tremendous struggle. And American pizza was born out of that struggle. And whether you're Chicago, New York, Detroit, or Buffalo, or any style in America, it comes from Italian immigrants migrating to those areas in search of a better life and recreating the pizza they had at home to represent something that was comforting to them and nostalgic to them. And above all else, at Good Pie, we honor that idea of struggle is great for growth. And, and we tell those stories through our pizza. And hopefully if we get it right, then the pizza's good. And if we don't, then we work harder the next day.
Awesome. What is, so tell us, let's go back a little bit. Tell us about Grandma's Pizza. What's the connotation on that? What is that?
Question, Mark. Grandma style is a thin and crispy square pizza. So it started in the 30s in the five kind of like the areas around New York. So grandmothers would go on the great acquisition for the weekend celebration and dinner for the families. And they would, my grandmother did it, and a lot of grandmothers, Italian-American grandmothers, they would go on all their different stops along the way. The grocery store. I remember my grandmother would stay there and go through like 20 cherries individually before she got that one cherry, right? Because, and then she got the produce from the produce stand and the meat market, and then went to the, maybe she baked her own bread or went to the bakery and got it fresh, or, and so along that route of getting the food for the family, the idea was to stretch $1 because money was scarce. Mm-hmm. So they would stop at the local pizzeria, and for a few pennies or maybe a nickel, they would get the pizza dough there. And then when they went home, they would stretch out the pizza dough on cookie sheets because every grandmother had a cookie sheet. They made cookies. And the pizza would sit on the cookie sheets and in the fridge. And then when the kids were hungry, they would pull out these cookie sheet pizzas and top them with whatever was around. And each grandma had their own way of making that pizza. And 3 decades go by of this, and a whole generation of Italian-American neighborhood kids grew up on this pizza. And later in the late 70s and early 80s, when people started to seek it out because grandma wasn't around anymore, and you wanted that feeling of a nurturing, caring, loving meal that you could only get from your grandmother. And so the pizzerias who decades earlier were selling the dough to grandmas now started to sell that pizza as a style. And so that pizza, I'm connected to it because, my journey as a professional pizza maker started in the home, right? And I don't have a formal study. I'm a front of house guy. Mm-hmm. And I was a front of house guy for 25 years with a dream to open a restaurant. And I thought, okay, I need to find a chef, and I'll be Danny Meyer or somebody. I'll be a restaurateur. Mm-hmm. But in my life as a front of house manager, operator, GM, etc., I kept, making pizza at home. And just over the years, kind of started to get better at it, and met a few mentors and met some people in my life that really, for the first time, I thought it was possible about 6 years ago that I don't need to find a chef, that I could head my own kitchen and operate my own restaurant. And so I could be front and back of house, and I could create something that I could be proud of and be special. So, and that's what we're doing.
That's amazing. That's a great story. Thank you very much. So you mentioned you had a couple mentors along the way. Do you want to speak and give them a shout out of how they influence you?
Yeah, there's so many. Really, I mean, it starts in Las Vegas with, the Godfather, John Arena of Metro Pizza. Mm-hmm. He's had the biggest influence on my life, just as a friend, and as a person who was always there for me. Any question, listen, man, when you do something for the first time, you don't know what you don't know. And it's scary. And having someone to call on to walk you through those decisions, it's invaluable just from a confidence perspective, right? And there's Michael Ayub, a friend of mine from Brooklyn. He gave me my first GM job in 2007. And he's the first, I think, boss I ever worked for that treated me with a high level of respect. I always worked for mean guys. Mm-hmm. And Michael was the first person who was a team first boss, right? He put my needs above the needs of customers. And I was like, wow, this is different, and I learned a lot from him. And, the list goes on. And Paulie G was a great mentor. Paul Giannone of Paulie G's in Brooklyn. I was at Paulie G's on the first night he was open, and we became friends. And, I was that guy who was the pizza consumer. I would go to every great pizzeria on day one, on day zero. I would stalk these guys and literally just try to be their friends. And then I would be like, I want to open a pizzeria. Do you have any advice? And a lot of them would be like, get out of here, kid. I don't know you. But some of them were generous. Generous. And Michael Chernow's another mentor. We opened the meatball shop together in New York City. It grew into an explosion of a phenomenon, and, it grew into an instant classic. And he was really a culture guru. And I'm still learning from him. We still talk. And I learned more from him about restaurant culture and marketing than really anybody on the planet. And he's a special person. He's a friend, and we've known each other for, all these people I've known for decades, except John Arena I've known for about 7 years.
Uh-huh.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
I think the background of you developing your system and your restaurant is phenomenal. And, you mentioned growing up in Brooklyn. Okay. When I was a kid, I left with my parents and grandma, forget about it. 2 grandmothers, Italian grandmothers growing up in Brooklyn, and the 5 boroughs like you were talking about.
Right? The wooden spoon.
Man, unbelievable. And I remember my first Sicilian slice of pizza down in the corner pizzeria. I mean, I thought it was the end of the world. I loved it,
Yeah,
and then I moved down to Florida back then, but I still had the tradition because grandma was there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So at her time, she told me, I will not eat anybody else's pizza. I got to make the pizza. She'd make the dough. She'd put the sauce, just like from Italy. I understand what you're talking about, and you're phenomenal at what you do, man. You know that. I know we used to talk a lot on the side. You tell me all about what your endeavors were. You taste the pizzas and all that. I want to ask you something else, and not too many people could actually say this, okay? But you can. And I made sure I watched it when you were on Chopped, man. I was rooting all the way because you had your mentors there. You had your friends, and man, It was unbelievable. Talk a little bit about that, because I don't know what happens on that show because I have to close my eyes. It's a TV show, right?
It's a great experience for me, just on a confidence level. So very few people know this, but I went on Chopped, and I didn't have a signed lease yet for my restaurant. And so it was a risk, and the producers were aware. I was up front with the producers. I went through a series of different interviews, both online and, on the phone and on Skype. And so Giulio Adriani, who's an amazing pizza maker and one of the world champions and one of the competitors on the pizza episode of Chopped, he was the one who put my name in the mix for that. He recommended me. And it was interesting because 3 or 4 people that I know that knew the producers sent my name to them. But when Giulio sent it, they were like, wow, we got to take a quick look at this Vincent Rotolo guy. And so I've always been comfortable in front of the camera. I grew up, I studied, I was an actor in New York City like a lot of other hospitality people. And I was in the theater and I studied with William Esper. And, I wanted to be an actor when I was in my early 20s. And so I have some of that performance background that I thought I could be comfortable on camera, but cooking on camera is not what you think it is. It's really hard, but for us, it was a different episode because we controlled the narrative. We're all friends and we knew we'd compete against each other. And we were talking prior to going on Chopped, and unlike you're competing against strangers and it's kind of cutthroat and I want that 10 grand, we had all agreed to split the prize 4 ways, 2,500 apiece.
That's great.
And at the end of the first round, we're all like hugging each other. And because we wanted to make a statement of the camaraderie, of the brotherhood, the support system of the pizza industry. And if you look at Las Vegas, the support system of the entire culinary industry, particularly off strip, people that like myself, we work on the strip and then we go off strip and we start our business. There's a huge support system. And we wanted to send that message. And so what ended up happening, and I don't know if you knew this, but you opened a can of worms with this Chop situation because, when I first started Good Pie, Jimmy, I was broke, man. I needed to get the space and then invite investors to a tasting. So it wasn't like I was getting all my funding with a business plan or a deck, right? I had a plan and I had a deck, but my approach was sign a lease, get in the space, make pizza, and then get the rest of the money because I'm inviting people to the space where they can taste what we're going to put out. And that was a risk, right? It was a huge risk because
Absolutely.
if I didn't get the rest of the money, I failed. So I did not win Chopped. I was chopped, and deservedly so. I made some mistakes. And what ended up happening was, instead of everyone taking their 2,500, they all donated their share of that money to me. And I took that money, came back to Vegas, and I used it to sign the lease on my space to open Good Pie.
Wow, what a story that is, bro.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, being on that show changed my life because it allowed me to take a risk. And it showed me that the support of those other accomplished pizza makers, like Nino was a 10-time world champion. John Arena's a 5 decades of making pizza and the godfather of Las Vegas. Giulio Adriani from, Rome, Italy, 4-time world champion. And then there was me. And I'm like, what am I doing in this category? How did I get here? I guess I'm the loudmouth guy from Brooklyn. They needed some comic relief. But the truth is that I earned my right to be there. And after I left, I felt like I could compete with the best in the world in pizza. And even if I could or I couldn't, if you feel like you can, then you can. And if you feel like you can't, you can't. So the confidence I got from that, the financial rewards I got from that, it really launched my restaurant.
That's a great story. It reminds me of Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams, right? If you build it, they will come, right? And that's where
Paulie G. He said, listen, the walls of fear are paper thin. And there's only good stuff on the other side, man. You just got to break through. You have what it takes. And if enough people that are successful in the position that I want to be in are telling me that I can do it, you start believing it after a while.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for sharing that, Chef. Can you tell us a little bit more about your new space that's opening up over on 1212? Yeah. I know the space that you have right now is a pickup place, and you can sit in the courtyard or take it to go. Is
Right.
1212 going to be bigger? Is it going to be sit down? You're going to have drinks? What's going on over there?
I mean, it's I walked through this morning and I saw the pass for the first time. And to me, the pass is a special place. That's the moment where the transaction happens, right? That's where me or one of my team is giving that food to the customer. That's where that food goes out. And I got emotional because it's a vision and it's a dream that I've had. I've been working on opening my own place since 2006. And this is finally happening. I've been working on this for 15 months. I'm designing every inch of this place myself. By the way, that's a huge mistake. Anybody listening? Hire a designer. I have no business designing a restaurant. I'm horrible at it. But we're going through these things where I'm building an 80-seat restaurant. It's 2,600 square feet. And we have the best of equipment. I have the best oven. My oven right now is behind me. It's being literally held together by a wire hanger, and that's not a joke. And I said the other day, I did an interview, and I said, I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan. And I said, right now, I'm Walter White cooking in a Winnebago. And that's my lab. And it's state-of-the-art everything, the best of the best finishes. I'm building a 16-seat bar out of black walnut. And it's gorgeous. I mean, I got Carrera marble. I have the floor that I grew up as a little kid, the ceiling tile, everything in there means something. One thing about my food, guys, is I have to have an emotional connection to what I'm making in order for it to be fully realized. And I do. And now I have a space that I'm emotionally connected to because I filled it with all the things I've been dreaming about for the last 2 decades. So I know it's going to be great.
Hey, Vinny, you know that you can rely on me whatever you need, and don't worry about cost. We go way back.
I appreciate it.
I'd help you out in any way you can. You know that with the
I'm gonna take you up on
ergonomics,
that.
everything. You know that, man.
I want to, man, I'm so grateful, not only for generosity like what you just extended, but I get that kind of generosity from everybody. My vendors are my business partners. The people I buy product from, I'm on a first name basis with them and their families. We see each other in our personal lives. We break bread, and there's a bond of trust and loyalty there that even now prices are going crazy. My prices are so high right now for pork, for pepperoni, for sausage, meatball. My cheese price is at an all-time 9-year high right now. But my vendors, we have that trust and that credibility and that love. And so I consider you in that category because we've worked together in the past. And every place I've ever been, I believe in training. Mm-hmm. I want to tell you why. One of my biggest influences in my career has been Michael Chernow. Michael is a culture building wizard. He understands culture and hospitality like no one else. And he told me something recently that it kind of just made everything come into play for me. I was a manager at the meatball shop, and I was aggressive, and I am still aggressive. I was aggressive to the point that my staff did not enjoy working for me. At Bellagio, I was right out of New York into Las Vegas, and my staff didn't like me, and I knew it. And it's hard to go to work every day with these goals and this drive and this ambition and being around people that just didn't like working for you. And so I knew I had to fix that problem in order to take the next step. And every day I'm constantly working on how can I be better to my team? How can I not treat them the way that I was treated when I was coming up? And so Michael has helped me so much. And here's what he said. He looks at his teams in restaurants, and he has thousands of employees. He looks at them like a sports franchise. And we're both big New York Giants fans. And he looks at the team in the way a sports franchise looks at their team. And what that means is this. All of your energy, all of your resources go into the recovery of the team. the training of the team, the preparation for game day, the uniforms of what they're going to wear, their well-being in every area of their life. The team doctors in sports medicine are hugely important, right? So I have 5 employees right now, and I'm happy to say I'm one of the smallest companies in the state of Nevada. My team has full health care. I pay for it with 5 employees.
Excellent.
It's expensive, right? It hits the bottom line. It's a big number. I pay more in healthcare than I pay myself in a salary. But I learned that from Michael Chernow, because if you put those resources into the development, the well-being, the training, the recovery, the mental, the physical, the emotional, like love of the team, they will perform on game day and the fans will come and you will win. You'll win more games than you lose, and you'll make the playoffs, and you'll put out a great product on the field, and the fans will come. They'll fill the stands, and they'll be happy to root and support that team. And so imagine if every restaurant ran that way. Imagine if when service started, that was game day. Imagine what that would feel like to work in that environment where you knew you were a priority as a team member over your performance was more valuable than that customer spending money. That's the culture of the future of restaurants. That's what I'm trying to build.
Absolutely. And that's a phenomenal, I love that word, phenomenal direction you are.
But it's not easy because I have bad old habits, but I'm trying every day to break them.
That's awesome. Maybe you might need to help out the Giants in their front office, though, huh?
Yes. Yes. I believe. Listen,
Vinny, you cannot say that about my team. And I'm not gonna, I'm actually the other side New York Jet guy, and I can't say that they're. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut on that.
Listen, there's a reason why the same coaches get the wins every year, right?
Exactly.
There's a reason why. I mean, all sports and really the restaurant world, upper management, middle management, so important how they're treated. The decision-making process and how you explain the why behind the how is so important. And I was talking to a chef recently who's an old school, hard-nosed, my way or the highway, I'm going to yell at you and tear you down chef, right? And I love her. She's great. And she just said, look, it's not me being hard. It's me telling you how the real world is. This is life. I'm teaching you life lessons in here. And it's the harsh reality of when you don't perform, you fail. And, I believe in that, right? But I believe the delivery of the message can be dealt with compassion, with respect, and with love. And you don't have to belittle someone to teach them, a better way. And I'm guilty of it, right? I'm guilty of yelling because I care so much. But I think that when you learn to connect before you correct, that's where the magic happens. Because I can be hard on my team because they know that underneath that aggressiveness is love and compassion. And unless you build the trust and the love first, then all you are is a mean guy and you're not someone who really cares about them.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, in your past, growing up, were you ever a coach?
I was the coach for a number of years. I kind of got sucked into it. My son Justin turned 6 years old, and I signed him up for Little League baseball. And I got a kind of a rejection letter that he couldn't play Little League because there was no field space available. The Little League was full. And I started investigating further, and it turns out that the field space programming was cut off for youth sports at a certain time, so adult programming could come in and pay more money for field space. And basically, I organized with a bunch of parents. I got involved in an organization called the Pier Park and Playground Association with some city leaders, and we got a lawyer pro bono, and we sued the state of New York, and we won, and they built fields. And that took 6 years. And so for the 6 years of my life, I kind of was the poster child for my kid is going to play Little League. And I became, that became my job. I was program director of the nonprofit, and I took over as training coordinator for the Little League. And I thought if we could get the more enthusiasm around baseball and a higher level of commitment from the community, that the field space, the city leaders at that time, the community boards and the decision makers would understand that we were a force to be reckoned with of the community, and the field space would be granted. And so it took 6 years from the time my son was 6 till the time he was 12. By the time he was 12, we had field space the size of 2 Yankee stadiums in walking distance from our house.
Wow.
And so that was Pier 40. And that I was known as, Coach Vincent. And I thought about going on a career as a baseball coach, a youth baseball coach my whole life. But I got pulled back into hospitality because I missed it. I love it so much. And the best part of my time as a baseball coach, I started camps. I did summer camps. We fed the kids lunch. And feeding the kids a high-quality lunch was one of my favorite parts. And I'm like, I need to get back in the food business. And so once we hit our goals of getting a field built and open and programming as youth priority, I went back into the hospitality industry and I became a consultant at that point.
Excellent.
Wow.
I'm sure Mark's going to agree to this one. Let's hear some of your menu.
Yeah, so right now we're doing a multiple different styles. So we have the grandma style. We do a Brooklyn style, which is a round pie. We use fresh mozzarella blended with the shredded mozzarella. We got meatballs. The garlic knots are incredible. We don't tie them in knots. We actually call it a garlic knot. So it's N-O-T.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do is we get a sheet of our dough, and our dough is Italian flour. It's fermented over 3 days. It's treated with love and care. We pay real close attention to time and temperature. And on Main Street, by the way, I'm building a temperature-controlled dough room with a humidity control. It's kind of like when Jimmy, where he keeps his fancy cigars. I will be making dough in a similar room.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a Sicilian pizza. It's a thicker crust. It's airy. We got a Detroit style with the caramelized cheese crust. And I've been really getting crazy with blending hybrids of different styles. And the new thing I'm working on this week is like the Chicago Detroit. So it's like a deep dish pan pizza Chicago, like a Giordano's, but it's in a square Detroit pan. And it's incredible because it's got that cheese pull and, it's got all this amazing layers of meat. So here's the difference. A regular deep dish pie at Detroit, it's filled with air in the crust. So it looks heavy, but it's actually light. A Chicago style, it looks heavy. It's actually heavy. It's filled with cheese and sauce and meats and all the stuff in the middle and then more stuff on top. So it's really like a quiche or like a real pie, as opposed to other pizza, the fermentation and the air, the structure of the bread is really a layer of flavor. And with Chicago style, it's not that way. So I'm dabbling in Roman style pizzas now, which is a pizza metro. And I'm just playing around with amazing stuff. But the menu is, it's interesting because we're doing what I consider to be everyday Brooklyn pizzeria food elevated. So instead of a fried mozzarella that everybody have, I'm doing fried burrata. And it's unbelievable. Yo, the fried burrata, it's so like Instagrammable. You cut through it and it oozes out, and then you can dip it or pour sauce. I put the hot honey on the burrata. It's like when you guys come in for the fried burrata at Main Street, it's a game changer. We're doing a really amazing, like this lasagna, but it's in a Detroit-style pizza pan. So it's a burnt cheese crust around a lasagna. So it's amazing because that caramelized cheese, it acts as a wall to hold in all the stuffing of the ricotta and the melted cheeses inside. And then when you burst through that melted cheese, that caramelized burnt cheese crust, everything oozes out. It's just like a souffle or something amazing. And so that's what we're doing at Main Street. And we're doing a vodka sauce pizza. So one of my favorite things is penne vodka. And now we're using the vodka sauce as an application on everything. On a grandma pizza, we're doing a vodka sauce lasagna. We do a vodka sauce regular pie, a margarita with vodka sauce. I mean, it's It's just a way to make it a different color, a different flavor, a different texture, a layer of cream. I'm going to do a clam pie as a special. I can get really, really good clams. And they're steamers, man. They steam open fresh. You know, you use that steamed clam and you make a delicious like cream broth, but you're using the clam juice as a base. And it's not clam juice from a can. It's clam juice from the natural clam as you steam them open. So that's super delicious. I can't wait for you to try that because that's addictive. You know, the menu is, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm cooking the food that I want to eat. And
that's it. You hit it. You hit it. You hit it.
I'm lucky, man. I'm really lucky.
Bro, you hit it. You're cooking the food that you want to eat. And that's the key. That's the key. I've always said that. My wife and I always say that when we go out to eat. If the chef is cooking something that he wants to eat, then you know it's going to be really good. Mark, I don't know about you, but, 10 pounds just listening, right?
Well, Jimmy, I don't know, like, I don't know when this whole quarantine thing is going to end, but, last week we're with Tony and he's making a margarita and taunting us. Now we got Chef here telling us about all his awesome food. I mean, like, we gotta be on location for some of these, huh, Jimmy?
Oh, we have to because
I'll invite you guys down again.
Hey, Vinny, I don't know though. This is the first time I'm actually looking at comments. I never did comments. And again, this is our 4th podcast, and there's somebody from the UK that just said, why can't they get this type of food there? I mean, there's
a lot of good pizza in the UK, so he's not looking hard enough.
There you go. There you go.
Sorry, Mr. Person from the UK. There is good pizza there. You might have to look harder, but it's there. And one of the great things I'm learning, man, I'm growing so much because I lost my father in May of 2012. And I just got here. I've been working at Bellagio for 3 months, and my father died. And then 11 months later, in April 2013, my mom passed. And so I buried both of my parents within a year period. And once that happened, I'm like, guys, life is too short. I want to do what I want to do. Like, I've been dreaming about opening a pizzeria. Like, let's get going. Let's just do it because life is too short, man. And I know people are out there and things are scary. We're in the COVID world and what does that mean and what can we learn? But I'm learning a lot about the opportunities that are in the food and beverage industry right now. And there's a huge opportunity for us. And I'm not just talking about opportunity in terms of exploiting the failures of others. I'm talking about opportunity in being on the cutting edge, leading the trend of making people feel safe and comfortable, right? Making people understand that you can have a high quality takeaway experience and people are willing to pay a premium price for it. Last month, my average was $43 per transaction. And I'm proud of that because that tells me that there is a value associated with what we're putting out, that people are willing to pay for it because I'm buying the most expensive, best ingredients I can buy. And when the price goes up, I'm not gouging my customers. I'm charging a fair price with reasonable margins where a lot of pizzerias have food costs in the teens, guys. So for those pros who knows what food cost is, you can make money with food cost in the low 20s. You don't have to be at 17%. You know what I mean? And I'm in the high quality, high volume, medium margin business. That's what it is. And there's a lot of pizzerias that are in the high quality, high volume, low margin business that can't make it. And then there's the low quality, high margin, high volume pizza business where everyone's making a killing. But that's hurting people. I've studied enough about pizza to know, and I'm not going to mention the big 3 by name, but everyone knows who the big 3 are.
Yep.
They're using products that hurt consumers. It literally, like if everybody out there, Google potassium bromate. And I know all the big corporations of pizza are using bromated flour for their dough. And Google potassium bromate, and you're going to find it's outlawed in 10 countries, including Canada. It should be outlawed in the U.S., but the lobbying from the big food companies to the government make it possible for them to sell food that hurts the consumer. And that's something we stand strongly against, because we're talking about my family's history, my family's culture, my heritage. We're talking about Italian-American immigrants who came here from Italy so I could have, and every other Italian-American immigrant could have, a better life. And that's worth more than 2 medium for $7.99 in 30 minutes or less. That's not pizza, guys. Pizza is, it's true love. It's an art form. And it doesn't have to be devalued and cheapened by the corporate chains. So what I'm saying is, what we're proving now in this world is, even though people are struggling, even though there's unemployment rates are high, even though we're scared about where we're going to make our next dollar, people are still willing to pay a premium price for high quality food. And that's what we stand for. And I'm more proud of that than anything.
And I'm proud of you, because, you know, I wish everybody thought the same way you think. You know, I know what you mean by people trying to cut corners, do this, do that, get something cheap. I know exactly what you're saying. And, you know, it's unfortunate, you know, and you're going to keep the quality because you believe in it. And that's what matters and what counts. You know what, sir? I'm going to tell everybody, go to Good Pie. This is the place you guys got to go. All right. I know this guy a long time. Mark knows this guy a long time. This guy's phenomenal. I wouldn't put anybody on this podcast that I didn't believe in. And you guys all know that, okay, who know me. And pretty much everybody knows me. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. It's definitely, he's a great guy. And, you know, we can talk to you for 3 days because you're such a likable, knowledgeable person. You know, it's great, you know. And I try to cut this to like 45 minutes or so. But you know what? It's so great. It's great, you know. And I know Mark has a million questions. I like Mark's idea about going onto the site of the venues. Maybe next season we'll do it. You know what I mean? We'll come to you.
You guys should be right here eating vodka.
Exactly. When you do our taste tests. I love it. You know, no problem. I'm sure Mark will do it too. Not an issue.
I want to say one thing. Yeah. I want to add something about, I know both of you guys are, you know, you have your own businesses related to adding service through consulting for the hospitality industry. And I want to say this. I believe in that because I'm learning, as I have a little bit more success, that you need other people's help to get to the next level. You need it. And I was a consultant myself. I was a service consultant. I've been through your program multiple times, but I can't teach it how you do it. I am more committed now to asking for help and seeking out the help of others than I've ever been. And I have the ability to make all my own decisions. And it's interesting. You know, I spent 25 years in management in this industry, both in New York and Las Vegas. And all those years, I was working just to have a voice at the table where the decisions were made about this business. And I got a seat at that table and I had a voice there. And I learned like the politics of how that works. And I didn't like it. And then I thought, I don't want to sit at the table. I want to be the table. And I did that. And I became the only decision maker in my business. No one can tell me what cheese to buy. No one can tell me what sauce to buy. No one can tell me what products to use or how to schedule my team. Or no one can tell me that we can't afford health coverage for my staff. Yeah. But I have business partners. And even though I have the ability to make decisions, they're my partners for a reason. And I listen to them. In fact, now that I have the ability to make all the decisions on my own, all I want is the advice of other people before I make major decisions. And I never thought that would happen. But you need the advice of the experts, because one thing I know I'm not an expert at everything. And some days I think I am, but then I'm humbled when I try it, because the people that do that every day, you need to seek them out and get their input and get their help and get their advice. And if you have to hire them and invest money in that, then that's the future of hospitality and training of your team. And you believe in yourself, Vinny. You believe in yourself. Well, I mean, that's the main thing. A lot of people say, what if I invest money in training these guys and they leave? And then I say, what if you don't and they stay? Right. Absolutely. Excellent point. It's important. Excellent point. I love it, man. Wow. Yeah, you're unbelievable.
Mark, you got to ask that last question, man. You know,
Oh,
we go for this last question. It's a
I
fun
didn't do
thing.
it. I didn't do it.
Go right ahead, Mark. Do your thing, man.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Chef. Your passion and, all three of us talking right now, and I'm sure a lot watching us right now are all entrepreneurs, all in the same boat and see how we're going to get through this. And I believe that passion, knowing what you're doing, and you just hit on for the past 3 or 4 minutes talking about help and seeking out other people. I mean, you couldn't be more right. That's just, the rising tide raises all the ships, right? I mean, that's just really the way to go. And the people who I personally see fail are the people who try to do it all. But people continually try to do it all. So it's nice that you said that. So thanks for your passion. So, a question that inquiring minds want to know is, tell me, pineapple on a pizza or not?
Well, I'm not anti-pineapple. I was asked this question recently. What I am is I'm anti-low quality on pizza.
Got it.
So if you get that pineapple fresh and you cut it up with care and attention to detail, and you season that bad boy and you roast it to render out all that liquid, and you make that pineapple taste amazing, and then you put it on a pizza, then great. But if you're that person grabbing anything out of a can and throwing it on a pie, disrespecting what pizza is, in my opinion. You're disrespecting my family's heritage. You're disrespecting all the Italian American immigrants that brought pizza here. You're disrespecting so many things on so many levels, but you can get away with it. But the big guy, someone's watching. And if you're using cheap ingredients out of a can on a pizza, at some point in time, it's not going to be sustainable. I can tell you, I read the trades every morning. I read all the industry news and what's going on. All those cheap pizza chains that were the hottest thing of the moment a year or two ago, 2 of them have already gone bankrupt. And Good Pie's still alive.
Awesome.
The answer to the pineapple is high quality is okay with anything on pizza. If your customer's happy and you're proud to put it out, more power to you. So power to the pineapple. Stop discriminating. Pineapple lives matter. So let the pineapples live.
All right. That wasn't the real question, but it's good that we got some more passion and honest feedback about it. And ultimately,
that wasn't even the real question.
Oh, that wasn't even the real question. So our real question is, since we all have Las Vegas ties, so many people who are watching, even the guy from the UK has probably been to Las Vegas as well. We all been here for a while. We all grew up. Tell us and everyone a story that, whether it be personally, professionally, gambling, of you wouldn't believe it unless you actually lived the Las Vegas life.
I mean, that's a
and try to keep it try to keep it clean. We don't know who's really watching.
I think that it's a Las Vegas story, and it's really, it could be from in my casino days. Some of the things that money can influence. Money influences a lot. The world revolves around the almighty dollar, and that's the kind of world we live in. But I got to tell you, I've seen the most generosity, the most love. My Vegas story is really after October 1st and the shooting on the Strip. And it's really about how a community came together to help the first responders get through, to help the victims' families get through. The culinary community went out of their way to start, feeding people and donating a ton of free food to people in need. And that just says a lot about the spirit. I do believe Vegas is my home. Even though I'm from New York, I've lived here almost a decade, and I'm opening a business here in downtown Las Vegas. And the spirit of Las Vegas, it goes beyond the lights and the glitz and glamour of the Strip. It goes into the culture of the food and beverage industry, which is a global destination. But if you look beyond the neon and beyond the bright lights and beyond the casino hosts and big gambling, you're going to find a city that truly has an amazing foundation of culinary professionals that care about one another. and welcome each other. I know chefs in other cities that are arch rivals. And here, the chefs, we go to each other's restaurants and we support. I mean, the amount of chefs and culinary, influencers that come to my restaurant and are my customers, it's a huge, huge number. And that support system is special. And that's the reason why, like when my parents passed, I thought about going back to New York and just starting over. But what kept me here was the amazing people of Las Vegas in our culinary industry, in the food and beverage world. And I don't want to live anywhere else because it's a truly special bond that we all have. And the support system is, I think, the greatest anywhere on the planet. And I've traveled a lot with the pizza circuit, and we go to Chicago. I'm with John Arena, and we see how the Chicago guys interact. And we go to New York last year. We did the New York Pizza Festival, and we look at how the New Yorkers interact. And then the Las Vegas hosts the Pizza Expo, the International Pizza Expo, every year. And when they all come here, they see the brotherhood, the camaraderie, the companionship that we all have. And we're the envy of the pizza world because our city is really special. They're unified. Like, I truly believe in, I don't have competitors. I help other pizzeria operators. We actually exchange recipes. We share vendors. We talk about the things that are challenging for us, and we try to help each other have success. And that's helping the entire community of our city, especially off strip. You're going to see, look at the James Beard Award nominations this year. There were 4 nominations for Vegas, and 3 were off strip chefs that are not just chefs, that are owner, operator, financiers, raising money, like dealing with the infrastructure of operating a business. And on top of all of that, they're cooking amazing food. Like Dan Cromer and James Trees, Nicole Brisson. These people, they inspire me just to know that they're in my city cooking. And so, that's my Vegas story, man. We're unified in a way that I've never experienced anywhere in the world.
Vinny, phenomenal, man. Phenomenal, buddy. I want everybody to go to Good Pie. That's the place you got to go. I'm sure everybody's hungry from just listening. It's great.
I wish I had a pizza to show you guys.
We're going to come. We'll make arrangements. Yeah. I want to do this the next season. It's our first thing. It's me and Mark never thought that it was going to be this great. This is pretty much a whim of the moment that we put this together, and it's really going really well. We had excellent people in the past on. Jennifer. Even our first gentleman, Eric, has been putting on all kinds of comments. He's been saying that you're the man. He's coming to you. You know what I mean? And it's really good. Everybody's out there, and they just love it. And, I love the time that you spent with us, and we'll be in touch, my friend.
I'm going back to inventory. I appreciate what you guys do. I'm honored to be on here with you guys. And, thanks for giving, the hospitality leaders of our city a platform and a way to express ourselves and just share with others. And I think we all need to look at the future of our industry. And it's our responsibility as veterans, as people who've been in this industry for 20, 30 years, it's our responsibility to help shape the future. And you guys are doing just that with this podcast. And I'm grateful to both of you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you, buddy. We'll be in touch, my friend.
Please follow us, Good Pie LV, on Instagram and Facebook. Please follow and support, both Jimmy V and Mark Steele at RHI. And I'm really, really blessed. Look out for the opening date announcement. It's coming very soon. Good Pie on Main Street will be open within 4 to 6 weeks. But please don't quote me on that.
Wow.
No problem, buddy. You take care, pal.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Chef.
All the best.
Well, Mark, I think it just gets better and better.
Yeah, what a ball of energy. I feel exhausted right now. I need to take a nap.
Wow, man, it's great. I love it.
Passion and somebody who's a true entrepreneur and just started his own brand and built his own money and built his own name, and now he's just growing and and he's the first one to which every entrepreneur who Jimmy, you and I are both down the same route. If you can admit to your mistakes, and you need to get better every day, right? So, and it looks like he's doing that. So
absolutely. But I love your idea about going on site. I mean, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. It's very easy to do, and it's great. Hey Jennifer, I see you out there with the comment. It's great. She said that Vinny is an ambassador to the Las Vegas, and it's really, it's true. It's true. It's amazing.
Well, this is Jennifer. Jennifer's a big ambassador to Las Vegas as well. So.
Absolutely. And it's great because this is just, I love this. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And that's the key. We're bringing out stories of people that a lot of people don't get to see. And it's remarkable. I hope it just really gets big enough for us that we have to say, well, we can't handle it. We got to have somebody look at the comments. This is my first week looking at the comments, and I'm going through it. And it's really not that hard because it's there, and it's great because you got great people with great ideas, great thoughts, great thought patterns. And there was a gentleman that I know pretty well. He came on there and he says that his roommate is Vinny is his uncle. I just didn't get to tell him. It's amazing. You don't know who's going to watch. But anyway, Mark, you have any announcements for this week?
No, just business as normal. Working on a couple of things that seem to, we're in the day of age where the information is changing all the time, where we're starting and we're getting some momentum. We're ready to announce some new classes. We're ready to start our alcohol awareness. We're ready to do projects with other things. We're ready to do more training with Jimmy. And then all of a sudden we get a little spike and everything's off the table for a while. But, it's still there. It means there's still interest. So we are ready to go, but check us out at rhinstitute.com. And we will we'll have a lot of stuff going very, very, very soon. So,
and that's great, man. All right, buddy. No problem. Until next week, we're going to have another fantastic guest. Another chef, as a matter of fact, but I'm not going to spoil it yet. I'm going to tease that. And everyone will see who it is when we get closer. I always like to announce it like during the week. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Like us if you're watching us on YouTube. Just keep watching because we're going to keep getting better, and we're getting better at this, here and there, learning the software and all. But we're having fun with it. We're just having a lot of fun, and that's the key. Mark, have a great week, and we'll talk again soon.
We'll probably talk right after this. So,
all right, you got it, buddy. Take care, pal.
All right, everyone. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.